What do you thrive off of? Could you imagine living in an environment that thrives off negativity?
Through here, they gonna get their ass tore up with like 10 different guns type shit, you know? And I ain't gonna get too much into detail, but if you try to kill me, I'm gonna kill your dumb ass. I'm gonna leave your ass slumped down in the seat somewhere.
Oh, baby.
Stupid ass.
In this video, we will be talking about C.T.S Lul Wick and his career this far.
Guapo hit they hood and blew it up in that black Troy.
Michael Henderson, better known as C.T.S Lul Wick, was born and raised in St. Louis, which is a city in the state of Missouri. St. Louis is a relatively big city with a population of almost 280,000 people. With a quick search, you can see that St. Louis is the third most dangerous city in the United States. It doesn't help the fact that St. Louis, Missouri, is an open carrier state, meaning that they can carry a firearm without a permit.
What's the gun laws like in St. Louis?
I think it's open carry for any age. You just can't go buy a gun unless you're 21. You could have a gun, it could be clean.
For any age?
For any age over 18.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say.
For any age over 18.
There's no age limit on an open carry, and there's no background check required to purchase a firearm in the state of Missouri. This community is heavily affected by gun violence and poverty. Henderson's environment played a critical role in shaping both his identity and his ambitions. St. Louis has long grappled with some of the highest crime rates in the United States, with frequent shootings, drug trafficking, and gang activity becoming part of daily life. For many young people like Henderson, the street culture became an inevitable part of growing up. He talks about people in his environment looking at him as being white as a weakness, but those who underestimated him would eventually learn the hard way.
Did you feel like bullied ever, or was that an issue?
I mean, I feel like most looked at me being white as a weakness, but it ain't never really been no weakness. But yeah, I feel like it was looked at as a weakness, you know? But they just had to learn the hard way.
You had to prove yourself type shit one day?
Shit like that, you know?
Yeah.
Henderson attended Roosevelt High School in South City, which is one of 13 high schools in St. Louis. He struggled with academics and discipline, typical for students in underfunded school systems in crime-prone areas. It is said that most of St. Louis high schools has had high teacher and social worker turnover rates. Roosevelt High School also deals with the low attendance and graduation rates. Teachers and counselors often recall the difficulty of keeping students engaged when outside pressures, like street violence, peer influence, or economic struggles, pull them away from traditional paths. Lul Wick was no exception. Though he initially showed promise in creative pursuits, including music, he found it increasingly difficult to focus on schoolwork. He often skipped classes and had run-ins with other students, leading to suspensions. By the time he reached his mid-teens, Henderson felt staying in school was a losing battle. The fast money from hustling on the streets became more enticing than the slow, uncertain path of finishing high school. Ultimately, he dropped out at the age of 14 to pursue his career full-time and to survive the environment he grew up in.
What were you like in high school? Were you quiet to yourself, or were you getting in trouble all the time, wilding out?
I only went to 9th grade. I dropped out in 9th grade.
What led you to dropping out?
I ain't gonna fake it. The school I was going to a St. Louis public school. That motherfucker was just bunk. But I ain't gonna sit here and, like, that ain't the reason I dropped out. I just got tired of going on some shit.
His friends and family noted that leaving school wasn't just about education. It was about navigating survival in a city where violence lurks around the corner. A quick announcement. The information I am presenting in today's video is all information taken from public records, and if you're still watching the video, show me some support and subscribe. Thanks. Lul Wick began channeling his experiences into music, embracing the persona of a certified trap star, also known as Courtois trap stars, which is the meaning behind CTS. Lul Wick makes it clear that he is not a Crip, and that C in CTS stands for Courtois.
You from a Crip hood, though? Because
No,
everybody
I ain't from
online,
no
they
Crip
think
hood.
you a Crip for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why they think I'm a Crip. Nah, I ain't from no Crip hood, bro.
Oh, word. What's the name of y'all? It's CTS, right?
CTS, Courtois Trap Stars.
And that was the C is from y'all block. That's the name of y'all.
Yeah, Courtois.
Courtois,
That's where
right.
they get. I guess that's where they get the Crip stuff from.
His music breaks down the challenges of street life, including hustling, violence, and the ever-present threat of death or imprisonment. His breakout track, Smash, resonates with listeners familiar with St. Louis' dangerous streets, gaining traction on social media. Looking at the views on YouTube, you can see that his song Smash is almost at 2 million views. The song's popularity and the rawness of his lyrics helped him build a following within the city's underground rap scene. He talks about other members of C.T.S, such as T4 and Rel Houdini, and how they motivated him into getting into the rap game.
I always thought like I should be a rapper. I know I turn up on their ass. I know I blow, but I never did it. My brother Rel Houdini got me rapping. He the one, he the one got me in the stoop, pushed me to do that shit,
Rel Houdini also has some success in the drill music game with one of his videos at almost 500,000 views. Lul Wick's rising career was interrupted by a tragic event on August 26, 2022. When he was implicated in the fatal shooting of 42-year-old Joseph Raymond Shaw. The incident began as a road rage confrontation. Surveillance footage showed Henderson riding his motorcycle next to Shaw's Jeep on Nebraska Avenue. At some point during the interaction, Lul Wick pulled ahead, turned, and shot Shaw in the head, killing him instantly. Shaw's vehicle crashed moments later. Lul Wick crashed his motorcycle nearby and fled on foot, leaving behind critical evidence. Once law enforcement spotted Lul Wick's crashed motorcycle, they were able to find the name and phone number linked to the bike. 18-year-old Lul Wick was caught that same year in October 2022. Law enforcement quickly tied him to the scene through phone records, video surveillance, and the recovered motorcycle, which had connections to him. Prosecutors charged him with first-degree murder and armed criminal action, leading to his arrest and pretrial detention at the St. Louis City Justice Center without bail. During that time of dodging law enforcement, Lul Wick would search for lawyers to represent him. He ended up with defense attorney Terry Niehoff. Lul Wick's defense argued that he acted in self-defense. Lul Wick testified that Shaw had pointed a gun at him during the confrontation, prompting him to fire out of fear for his life. A gun was found in Shaw's vehicle, with spent shells indicating it had been recently discharged, supporting Lul Wick's case. Despite the prosecution's attempt to portray Henderson as violent, even referencing some of his song lyrics as evidence, the jury was not convinced. Lul Wick says his lyrics shouldn't have been brought up in court because those lyrics were posted 6 months prior to the incident.
And did they point out any lyrics in particular, or are they just like showing like images?
Yeah, they brought up an old song.
Right.
They brought up a song that was recorded before the crime took place, before the incident took place.
He also talks about how the prosecution tried to reword his lyrics to describe the murder of Raymond Shaw.
When you listen to it, you would think it is. Like, I said something like, call him lack and popped him up. We damn near flipped over his ride. And if you look at the article, the Jeep almost flipped over. So when they heard that, I can understand why they think that, but I had evidence to prove that song was old.
With key witnesses missing, such as a passenger who was reportedly in Shaw's vehicle and inconsistencies in the prosecution's case, the jury acquitted Henderson after 2 hours of deliberation. His lawyer criticized the state's case as flimsy, emphasizing that Henderson's music was a form of expression, not a confession to crimes. That was not the first time he would beat a case with the act of self-defense. When he was a juvenile, he was charged with assault first degree. He beat the charge acting out of self-defense because the guy who he shot pointed a gun at him.
I knew I was going to get locked up, but I knew I was going to beat my shit too. I knew it was self-defense. I went through this before. I've had to defend myself before when I was a juvenile. I went to juvenile for first degree assault. And I had to defend myself, and I beat that. It was self-defense too.
In my opinion, it feels like St. Louis is pretty lenient when it comes to self-defense cases. Henderson's emotional release from in January 2024 marked a turning point. Though the trial disrupted his music career, it also brought him significant public attention. Many saw him as a symbol of resilience, a young man who survived both the streets and the legal system. Lul Wick's story reflects the broader struggles faced by many in St. Louis, where systemic issues, including poverty, underfunded schools, and gang violence, limit young people's options. For some, the streets become both a means of survival and a trap. Even for those who turn to music, like Lul Wick, escaping the pull of the street lifestyle can be difficult. The overlap between street culture and cities like St. Louis often results in legal troubles for writing artists, as law enforcement increasingly scrutinizes their lyrics and personal lives. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe to show support.